When he first burst onto the scene, Theo Walcott looked like one of the most exciting English talents to come through in years. But despite all that early promise, has he really ever fulfilled his potential? Well, today we attempt to rebuild the career of Theo Walcott. So where did it all go wrong for Theo? Selected in a World Cup squad while still a teenager, and a dream move to a top 6 side, but moves to Everton and then a return to Southampton are flattered to deceive, and he's been questioned by the pundits.
And I just think as a player, I don't think he evolved as well as maybe his potential suggested.
Arguably, Theo hasn't had a really strong season since 2016-17.
They haven't kind of turned to Theo really at any stage over the last few years and gone, you are one of our main players, you're one of our senior players and we're going to start you every single week.
But in this rebuild, we're going to see if we transfer Theo to the right club with the perfect tactic and a suitable player role. Can we write a different ending to the Walcott story? At 32 years old, maybe Walcott is never going to be a leading Premier League player any longer. Instead, we've taken over Eredivisie club Feyenoord. We've made Theo our first signing, but what are the goals of this rebuild? Well, Walcott has never won a league title, so goal number 1 is to win the Eredivisie. But we don't just want him to pick up a winner's medal, we want him to be heavily involved. So goal number 2 is to complete a season where he contributes a combined total of 20 goals and assists. But we're going to have to work out a tactic that's going to get the best out of Walcott's aging legs, and we're going to have to play him in a role that will make the best of his attributes, of which some are still fairly impressive. For 32 years old, he still has good acceleration and pace. The stamina and work rate mean that his overall team play should be strong, and the natural fitness of 15 will hopefully mean his attributes don't decline too quickly. Add in some decent dribbling, technique, determination and flair, and I think we have a forward that can play an important role. Despite playing as a striker in his early years, Walcott has spent most of his career playing out on the left flank,
and I don't think he's ever really been taught the game. He doesn't really understand the game.
So my first thought is maybe to play him as an inside forward, maybe even with an attack duty, to see whether he can support a front man, try and break into the box and score some goals for his new side. However, throughout his career, I always thought whether Walcott might have been better utilised as a striker.
He's got pace to burn, but he never really knew if he was a striker or a winger.
But he must know by now, Glenn. He's in his late 20s now.
Although he has a player trait of cutting inside from the left wing, he also likes to beat the offside trap. And he does have some player traits that contradict playing out on the left-hand side. So although I might play a system that utilises inside forwards, I'm actually thinking Walcott might play as a lone front man, and can we try and utilise that pace that he still has to play him as an advanced forward? It's difficult to decide whether Theo might be better used as a striker or as a wide player. Let's start him off as a striker and see how he does on his debut. And the answer is not too bad. He may not have been on the score sheet, but he did score an 8.3 and managed to produce 2 assists in a 3-0 win over Willem II. Certainly good enough to persist with him as a striker. Let's see how he does over the first few games of the season. Well, just 2 minutes into his next appearance for the club, he managed to get his first goal, and in front of his home fans. And he also showed that he could do it against top opposition, scoring in the 3-2 win against PSV. So the early signs look good, but we want 20 goals and assists and an Eredivisie title. Let's fast forward to the end of the season. Well, goal 1 is accomplished because Feyenoord are champions, finishing 7 points ahead of Ajax. And we may have achieved goal 2 as well, because although Dusan Tadic hit 30 goals, Theo hit 21. When we add in the 8 assists, Walcott played a part in 29 goals in just 34 appearances for his new club. And he was named man of the match 5 times with an average rating of 7.21. Walcott was also a regular scorer in Europe as Feyenoord made it all the way to the Europa Conference League semi-finals. Unfortunately, despite beating Roma 2-0 in the first leg, Walcott was denied a European final appearance as Roma won 4-1 in the return. However, there was better news in the Dutch Cup, which Feyenoord went on to win, with Walcott scoring the opening goal in a 2-0 victory over Willem II. I don't think we could have wished for a better first season at Feyenoord, but Theo is 33 years old now. Do we push our luck with another season? Well, we did, and it was worth it because Feyenoord have made it back-to-back titles, finishing 10 points clear of Ajax this time. And Walcott is also their leading goal scorer, contributing 31 goals this season. Theo scored 25 in 32 Eredivisie games, as well as making 4 assists, and he added 3 goals in European competition as well. Now aged 34, the acceleration has dipped, but the pace is still 13, and across 2 seasons in the Netherlands, he scored 46 league goals. And some of them were memorable ones, such as the brace he notched against Ajax in the Johan Cruyff Shield, or his first goal back in Champions League action when he was on the score sheet against Celtic. Even in his mid-30s, Theo looked at home in the advanced forward role, with his pace and his movement always being enough to trouble Eredivisie defences. In some games he looked unplayable, netting 3 hat-tricks in his time with Feyenoord, and 1 Dutch Cup and 2 league titles is a fitting end to the Theo Walcott story. So whilst his Premier League career may be winding down, Theo Walcott can still do a job at an Eredivisie club. But do all player rebuilds go as well? Why don't you watch this one next?